Let's talk about Bush. Devin Bush. I don't know anything about the other kind. Grossi Posse Packer Nation, welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I am your host, Tom Grossi. Thank you so much for watching, and today we are looking at another inside linebacker named Devin, as that seems to be a popular name for inside linebackers this year, as we looked at Devin White last week, and we move on to Michigan's own Devin Bush today. Before we get to that, a big shout out and thank you to all the patrons that are out there in the patron universe on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy to support and also for some cool rewards. Thank you very much for that. Now, let's talk about Devin Bush. When I released the Devin White video last week, some people were saying, "Hey, Tom, I don't absolutely hate you for your opinions, but have you seen Devin Bush? I feel like you might like him more." And I was like, ooh, another Devin. This may be a doppelganger kind of thing. Let's take a look here. And I gotta say, from what I've seen, not too shabby. If we look at his combine, starting with a 4.43 40-yard dash, did 21 reps, had a 6.93 cone, hells to the yes, and a 4.23 20-yard shuttle, all good. 234 pounds and a 5'11", which right there, that should be sending bells and alarms and whistles because you're shortest. That's what you all are. You hate short people, and it's wrong. It's wrong. But yeah, this is why this guy is like not getting named within like the top 5, maybe even like top 10 discussion, is because of his height. And I think that is to their detriment because I'm not shortest. And I still think he could play damn well. Because while it may say 5'11" on my license, I lie and say that I'm 6 foot. So, Devin, you could do the same thing. Now, besides his impressive combine, let's take a look at his stats here. In 2016, played just 7 games, only had 6 solo tackles and 5 assisted. Didn't really do a whole lot in 2016 as he didn't play the entire season. But in 2017, he got all the reps. 13 games, 44 solo tackles, 51 assisted, 10 for a loss, 5.5 sacks, 7 passes defended, and an interception. Great 2017. 2018, 12 games with 41 solo tackles, 25 assisted, 8 for a loss, 4.5 sacks, and 4 passes defended. Now, when taking a look at the tape here, yeah, he's good in pass coverage. Now, he's not going to be the guy that's going to constantly make interceptions, as noted that he only has 1 in his college football career. But the fact that he's always around the ball is obviously a big, big plus. Now, for some of them, I was like, oh no, do we have another Devin White? He tackles a little bit high, just a little bit. But what I saw a lot more of, and that I did enjoy, is that he wraps up for the majority of his tackles. And if you want to practice safe sacks, wrap up. But he has great pursuit. When he comes to actually get after the quarterback, he usually runs around blockers, and he's able to do that because of his speed. But big blockers could be problematic for him and swallow him up. That could be a problem within the NFL, as obviously the O-linemen are a lot bigger in that case. But the fact that he's a 3-down linebacker, he's good in pass coverage, is something that I think is obviously a tremendous positive. When it comes to blitzing, which I know Patton loves his blitz packages and bringing the heat, Devin Bush is definitely a blitzer, but the one thing that I did constantly notice is that when he is getting at the quarterback, it's usually a delayed blitz, and that makes a lot of sense because the O-linemen are already busy with the defensive line coming at him, and considering that he could be swallowed up by a lot of the blocks, the delayed blitz is there so he can avoid the blockers and get to the quarterback, which he's successful at, and he's able to close in really quickly on the quarterback because of his speed. Now, for why he makes sense for the Packers, he makes sense for the Packers why Devin White made sense for the Packers. Again, I'm not completely hating on Devin White, it's just that tackling thing really bothered me. It did. And considering that, like, he's talking about going within the top 10, even, you know, there was talk, I saw him like at 5, I think, over the weekend on a mock draft. That shouldn't be an issue for that kind of position, but that's neither here nor there. We'll disagree with that until the cows come home. But Devin Bush obviously can serve very, very well for the Packers. Inside linebacker is a huge need for them considering Jake Ryan is gone. Clay Matthews is no longer there to move inside. And so we definitely could use some help at inside linebacker. And this guy could make an impact immediately. The fact that he's not a rotational player, the fact that he can play 3 downs, that is something that consistency, that's the one thing that stood out for me for Devin Bush is his consistency at constantly getting to either the quarterback or just being involved wherever the ball is. The real question is now, if he's there at 12, do we snag him up or is that a little bit of a reach? That's a bit of a tough one. I think, again, it completely depends on who else is on the board, but a lot of people were asking me because I was singing the praises of TJ Hawkinson last week. Do you take TJ Hawkinson or Devin Bush? While I love TJ Hawkinson to death, I think the fact that this addresses an area of need and he's also a damn good player, I can see you picking Devin Bush at 12. Considering that Michigan is known for their defense and this guy was still able to stick out even with a guy like Rashawn Gary on the team, like, you know, who's also being lauded as like a first-round pick. I think that you take a shot on this inside linebacker, considering that he would immensely help out that Packers defense immediately, and then pray that, you know, an offensive weapon is hopefully there, whether it's wide receiver or even tight end is there at 30. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, TomGrossI Comedy, at TomGrossiComedy on all the social medias that you see below, including Patreon, and check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, and of course here on YouTube 5 days a week. Thank you so much for watching. I am Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go.